Welcome to the Deep Dive. If you've ever found yourself captivated by Portugal, its sun-drenched coasts, the incredible food, maybe the promise of a life well lived well, you're absolutely not alone. For expats, digital nomads, retirees, it's really become a top choice, hasn't it?
It really has. It's hugely popular.
But transforming that dream into a stable reality, maintaining your foothold in this beautiful country, it really hinges on one critical step, securing and renewing your legal residency.
That's the hurdle.
It can feel like facing this bureaucratic labyrinth, honestly, but we're here to tell you it doesn't actually have to be that daunting.
Exactly. That's right. This deep dive is basically your essential blueprint for renewing your Portuguese residency permit. Our mission, pretty simple, to demystify the entire process.
Okay.
To unravel those hidden complexities and really equip you with those surprising facts and crucial nuggets of knowledge, things that can turn a task that feels huge into something you can tackle confidently.
Sidestep the common pitfalls.
Helping you sidestep common pitfalls entirely.
Yeah. And what makes this deep dive, I think, particularly powerful is that our insights are drawn directly from a really comprehensive, up-to-the-minute 2025 guide from Access Portugal.
That's our core source. Very current.
So this isn't just theory. It's incredibly practical, really designed to be your shortcut to feeling completely informed and, prepared for your renewal journey.
Right. So let's maybe unpack the initial groundwork for this journey. The first step, the really crucial step in understanding Portuguese residency, is knowing exactly what kind of permit you hold.
Okay.
This isn't just a detail. It's like the foundation of your whole renewal strategy.
Why is that particular detail so paramount? I mean, doesn't a residency permit just, act like a residency permit? Are they that different?
You'd think so, but the nuances matter quite a bit, actually. The most common type, and this is our main focus for this deep dive, is the temporary residence permit.
Right. The autorização de residência temporária.
Exactly. These are typically valid for maybe 1 to 2 years, and they're designed specifically to be renewed. Then, after 5 years of continuous legal residence, you can become eligible for the permanent residence permit. That's the autorização de residência permanente.
The next level up.
Sort of. And there's also the EU long-term residence permit, which offers similar stability to the permanent one, but with, broader benefits across the European Union.
Okay.
So while many aspects of renewal are pretty consistent, understanding your specific permit really guides you on the precise documents you'll need and eventually your path to longer-term status.
That makes sense. Yeah. Knowing your destination sort of dictates the specific steps on your map, right?
Precisely.
And speaking of specific steps, there's a vital timeline, isn't there? A kind of golden rule for initiating this process that catches many people off guard because it's much earlier than you might assume.
Absolutely. And this isn't just like a friendly suggestion. It's your critical shield against Portugal's, let's be honest, notorious bureaucratic backlogs. Portuguese immigration law, the Lei de Estrangeiros, it mandates that you must submit your renewal application between 90 and 30 days before your current permit expires.
90 days. That's 3 months.
3 months out, yeah. Many people procrastinate. They think, the 30-day window is fine, but that 90-day buffer, it isn't just a convenience. It's really a necessity.
And what happens if you miss it?
Well, missing it can lead to fines, potentially a lapse in your legal status, or even force you into a much more complex reapplication instead of just a straightforward renewal. This is genuinely where most people get caught out.
Wow. Okay, that's a really stark reminder of the importance of being proactive then.
Definitely.
And to add another layer here, the source material highlights a really significant procedural shift that's been unfolding, one that every listener really needs to be aware of.
Yes, this is a major transition. It's been happening since 2023. AIMA, that's the Agência para a Integração, Migrações e Asilo, has been progressively taking over from CEF.
CEF, which everyone used to deal with, right? The Serviço de Estrangeiros e Fronteiras.
Exactly. AIMA is taking over for most immigration matters, and that includes these crucial residency renewals.
So what does that mean practically for someone applying?
Practically, it means you'll primarily be interacting with AIMA's systems, their online portals, their offices. Though, during this ongoing transition, some old CEF processes might still pop up here and there.
Okay, good to know.
But it's a fundamental change. It impacts everything from where you apply online to your in-person appointments.
Right. So with that foundational knowledge now established, our next frontier is the often dreaded but absolutely essential paperwork.
Ah, yes, the documents.
Let's talk about the bedrock, the non-negotiables. What are those core documents that are the cornerstones for every applicant, regardless of their specific situation?
Okay, let's list them out. For every single applicant, you're going to need these 9 essential things. And pay close attention to the details, because small errors here cause big delays.
Got it. Number 1.
First, a completed renewal application form. You get this online through the AMA portal. Be precise with every field.
It's okay.
Second, your valid passport. This is a common pitfall. It must be valid for at least an additional 6 months beyond your requested renewal period.
Not just valid on a day, but 6 months beyond.
Exactly. Many underestimate this. Thinking a week past expiration is okay. Nope, it's an automatic rejection.
Ouch. Okay. Third,
Your current residency permit, even if it's nearly expired. You need to show the old one. Fourth, proof of address in Portugal.
like what, a rental contract?
Yep, rental contract, a property deed if you own, or even just utility bills clearly in your name, water, electricity, that kind of thing.
Okay. Number 5.
Fifth, proof of sufficient financial means. Usually this means bank statements covering the last 3 to 6 months.
And Portugal wants to see consistent income, right? Not just a lump sum sitting there.
Exactly. Consistent income is key, not just a big deposit last week. Sixth, proof of health insurance needs to cover the entire renewal period you're applying for.
Makes sense. 7th.
Seventh, your Portuguese tax number, your NIF, and any Social Security documentation if that applies to you. Eighth, a criminal record certificate from Portugal.
From Portugal itself.
Yes, and potentially from your home country too, especially if you haven't been in Portugal that long, say, within the first couple of renewals.
Right. Okay. And finally,
Recent passport-sized photos, typically 2 to 4, depending on the exact requirements at the time. They need to meet standard biometric requirements.
okay, that's a really comprehensive list of the core stuff. But as you sort of alluded to earlier, it's not a one-size-fits-all situation, is it?
Not at all.
I imagine the specific reason you're resident in Portugal, your residency basis, dramatically changes what additional documents you need to prove you're still eligible.
Precisely. Beyond those essentials we just listed, your specific residency basis dictates what else you need.
So, for example, someone working.
Right. For employment-based residency, you'll need your current employment contract and recent pay stubs, proof you're still actively working.
And if you're self-employed,
Mhm.
an entrepreneur.
Then you'll need business activity documentation. Things like your tax declarations, maybe invoices showing proof of service provision, and really solid proof of tax compliance. They want to see the business is legit and up to date.
Okay. What about retirees or people on passive income visas?
For those on retirement or passive income visas, expect to provide really meticulous proof of consistent pension payments or other investment income, ideally showing it's regularly entering your Portuguese bank account. That link is important.
Consistency again?
Always. If it's family reunification, you'll need documents proving your continued relationship to the primary permit holder. Marriage certificates, birth certificates, that sort of thing. Updated if necessary.
Right.
And specifically for D7 or passive income visa holders, the big emphasis is on proving that consistent passive income alongside those Portuguese bank statements showing the funds are coming in and supporting your life here.
Okay, that really clarifies the different layers. Now that you've armed us with the knowledge of what to prepare, let's navigate the actual journey itself, step by step. From logging into that portal all the way to the in-person appointment.
Okay, the journey. It typically involves 6 key stages. First, you need to create or access your online account on the AIM portal.
The command center you mentioned.
Exactly. It's not just a login. It's where everything happens. You fill out the application, upload documents, schedule that crucial appointment, pay the fees, and track your application status. It's central.
Okay. Step 2.
Second, you complete the online application itself.
Mm-hmm.
Fill in all the required fields, meticulously personal details, address, permit info, your basis for residency, contact details.
You had a tip for this part.
Yes. A crucial pro tip here saves a lot of digital heartache. Save your application progress frequently.
Ah, the timeout issue.
Yes, the AIM system is kind of notorious for timing out unexpectedly. High traffic, maybe you pause too long, people lose hours of work. Save, save, save.
Oh, that is absolutely vital advice. Nothing worse than putting in all that effort just for the system to wipe it. Okay, what's next after the form is perfectly filled and saved?
Third, You'll upload all your required documents. Generally, they need to be in PDF format.
Any size limits?
Typically, there's a max file size, maybe around 4 MB per document. Check the latest guidance on the portal, and be really aware that some documents, especially ones from outside Portugal, might need official certification or a sworn translation into Portuguese.
Right, translations are key. Okay, fourth step.
Fourth, you book your in-person appointment at your local AIMA office. This is where starting early really, really pays off. It's almost like trying to get concert tickets for a popular band.
Really? That hard?
It can be. Appointment availability varies wildly by region. Lisbon and Porto. Wait times can stretch for several months. Smaller cities might offer slots much sooner.
So what's the strategy?
Check the portal consistently, daily, if you can. Especially early mornings or late evenings, that's when cancellations sometimes pop up. It becomes a bit of a strategic hunt.
Wow. Okay, so once that precious appointment slot is finally secured, I imagine the financial aspect comes into play, paying the fees.
Exactly. The fifth step is to pay the renewal fee. You can typically do this online through the portal using a multibanco reference.
What's a multibanco reference?
It's like Portugal's integrated ATM and payment system reference number. Very common here. Or you might be able to pay directly at the AMA office, but online is generally recommended. It's quicker, easier to track.
Got it. Online is better. And the final step, number 6.
And finally, the sixth step. Attend your in-person appointment. This is where it all comes together.
What do you need to bring?
Make sure you bring all your original documents, even the ones you uploaded digitally, plus your payment receipt, your current residency permit, and of course, a valid ID like your passport.
Originals are key.
Absolutely. During the appointment, officials will meticulously verify everything. They'll collect your biometric data fingerprints, photo ask any clarifying questions they might have, and then, importantly, issue you a receipt confirming your application has been officially submitted.
Okay, that's a lot of crucial detail, especially about those fees. Let's talk costs. What are the typical fees associated with this process as of 2025, according to the guide?
Right, the fees. As of 2025, the standard fees are generally in these ranges. For a temporary residence permit renewal, it's typically between about €90 and €110. It can vary slightly depending on the specific permit type.
Okay. And for permanent residency?
If you're progressing to a permanent residence permit, that application carries a higher fee, usually somewhere between €200 and €250.
And there was another fee.
Yes, there's also usually an additional fee for the document processing and biometrics collection that typically ranges from €30 to €50.
Okay, so potentially up to around €160 for temporary renewal, maybe $300 for permanent, give or take.
Roughly, yeah. But it's really important to remember these fees are subject to periodic adjustments by the government. Always, always double-check the official AMA website for the most current fees just before you pay. Don't rely on old information.
Good advice. Always check the source. Now, every journey has its inevitable bumps in the road, right? And this process is no exception. What are the most common challenges people face? Those little landmines waiting to trip you up. And more importantly, how do we outsmart them?
Yeah, there are definitely a few common hurdles. One of the biggest frustrations, as we touched on, is the difficulty in securing an appointment.
The concert ticket problem.
Exactly. People often check once, see nothing available for months, and kind of panic or give up. The solution really is persistence. Check that online portal daily. Early morning, late evening cancellations do appear. They're like hidden gems.
Any other options for appointments?
You might also consider using authorized immigration assistant services. They often have specialized knowledge or systems for finding slots, though obviously that comes at a cost.
Okay. What's another common issue?
Missing documents. This isn't just an inconvenience. One missing paper can completely halt your application.
How to avoid that?
Best solution. Start gathering everything super early. Use a detailed checklist. Tick things off as you get them. For documents that seem particularly challenging to obtain, maybe a specific type of criminal record from overseas, don't hesitate to consult with an immigration lawyer or a relocation consultant. They can save you immense time and stress.
Right. Get expert help if needed. I can imagine language barriers also present a significant hurdle for many people, especially outside the main cities.
They absolutely can. Look, Portugal is getting better with English language services, especially in Lisbon and Porto, but relying solely on finding an English-speaking official for such a critical appointment, it can be risky.
So what's the workaround?
Bringing a Portuguese-speaking friend along can be invaluable, or hiring a professional translator just for that appointment can make a world of difference. It prevents those subtle misunderstandings that could potentially impact your application.
Good call. Okay, one more challenge.
Finally, proving sufficient financial means can sometimes be tricky. The key here isn't just having some money, it's demonstrating consistent income or support.
How do you demonstrate that effectively?
Maintain consistent activity in your Portuguese bank account. Ensure your statements clearly show regular income that meets the minimum requirements. Currently, that's approximately 705 per month for a single applicant, but check current figures.
And don't confuse savings with income.
Exactly. Don't just show a large savings balance. The authorities want to see proof you can support yourself sustainably month after month.
Right. Okay, so once you've hopefully navigated these hurdles, attended the appointment, submitted everything, is there just this period of anxious waiting, or does Portugal offer some kind of safeguard to ensure you remain legal while they process it?
That's a really important question, and thankfully, you are absolutely not left in limbo. After your submission and the in-person appointment, you receive a crucial safeguard, a temporary document. It's usually called a declaração.
A declaration.
Okay.
What does it do?
This document is immensely important. First, it legally extends your stay in Portugal, so you remain legal in the country while your application is being processed.
Huge relief.
Massive relief. It also generally allows you to travel in and out of Portugal, though it's worth noting international travel with just this temporary paper can sometimes be a bit complicated.
How so?
Border control in other countries might not be familiar with it or might ask more questions. So travel is possible, but maybe proceed with a little caution. Always carry the declaração in your application receipt.
Okay. And other rights. Work. Healthcare.
Yes. Crucially, it maintains your rights to work, to study if applicable, and to access the public healthcare system. And it serves as official proof of your legal status for any authorities, like the police or potential landlords, should you need it.
That's a really vital piece of paper then. But how long does this waiting game typically last? When does the new permit usually arrive?
Well, typical processing times, they usually range from about 2 to 6 months.
2 to 6 months, okay.
But, it's Portugal. Bureaucracy can be slow. Delays can certainly occur, especially during peak application periods or if your case has any complexities.
So patience is needed.
Patience and keeping that temporary document, that declaração, with you at all times until you receive your shiny new renewed residency card in the mail or pick it up. It's your proof.
Right. Let's maybe peel back a few more layers of common uncertainties. We've gathered some frequently asked questions that you, our listener, might have about this whole renewal process.
Good idea. Let's tackle them.
Okay, first up, the big one for many travelers. Can you actually travel outside Portugal while your renewal is processing?
Yes, you can, but with that important caveat we just mentioned, your temporary document, the declaração, allows you to travel within Portugal without any issues.
And internationally.
For international travel, the declaração serves as your proof of legal status to re-enter Portugal. However, border control in other countries might not always be familiar with it, so carry your application receipt, maybe your expired card too, and just be prepared for potential questions, or maybe slight delays upon entry elsewhere, or even re-entry to the Schengen area.
Okay, travel possible, but be prepared. Next question. What if the worst happens and your current permit actually expires before you can get your renewal appointment? Does that put you in an illegal status?
No, not at all. And this is a key point that eases a lot of worries. As long as you have successfully submitted your renewal application before the expiration date of your current permit.
Submitted online, paid the fee.
Yes, formally submitted the application before the expiry date, you remain perfectly legal in Portugal. That temporary document, or even just the proof of submission before expiry, effectively extends your legal status until a final decision is made on your renewal. You are covered.
That's a huge relief for many, I'm sure. Okay, how about time spent outside Portugal? Can you renew if you've been away for extended periods?
This is a critical detail. It really depends on your specific permit type and how long you were absent.
What's the general rule?
Generally, for most temporary permits, the rule is you should not be outside Portugal for more than 6 consecutive months at any one time, or more than 8 months in total during the validity period of each permit segment, often a year or 2 years.
And if you exceed that?
Exceeding these limits can seriously jeopardize your eligibility for renewal. Portugal expects its residents, even temporary ones, to actually reside primarily in the country. It shows commitment.
Right. Makes sense. Is Portuguese language proficiency a requirement for renewal?
Not typically for temporary permit renewals, no. For renewals, the authorities are mostly focused on whether you still meet the original conditions for your residency basis, your job, your income, your family tie, etc.
But it is needed later.
Yes, it is a firm requirement later on if you apply for permanent residency or for Portuguese citizenship. For those, you'll need to demonstrate at least A2 level proficiency in Portuguese, which is a basic foundational understanding of the language.
Okay, A2 for permanent or citizenship, but not usually for temporary renewal. Good distinction. And finally, can you change your residency permit type during the renewal process? Say, switch from a student permit to a work permit.
That's usually tricky. In some very specific limited cases, yes, you might be able to transition the student to work. Visa transition is one potential example, under specific conditions set by law.
But generally
Speaking, changing from one permit type to another, say from a D7 passive income visa to a work permit, often requires a separate, entirely new application process, not just a simple renewal.
a whole no application.
Yeah, because the legal basis for the new permit type is different and usually requires a completely fresh assessment by AI. It's not just continuing the old status.
Got it.
Hello.
Clear.
Oh.
So wrapping this all up, what does this all mean for you, the listener? The clear takeaway from this deep dive seems to be that proactive planning and really meticulous attention to detail aren't just good ideas. They are your most powerful allies in navigating this process smoothly. It's about being empowered, right? Not overwhelmed.
Absolutely. And the source itself reiterates a crucial reminder: maintaining your legal residency status. That's ultimately your responsibility, no one else's.
Right.
But by embracing the insights we've shared today, hopefully drawing from that Access Portugal guide, you gain the agency, the ability to handle it with confidence.
Definitely. And to help you further cement your understanding and really arm you with the right contacts, here are some invaluable resources and contacts from the source material. Think of this as your essential toolkit for continued success in Portugal.
Okay, yeah. The most important one is the AIMA official website. That's www.aiaa.gov.ptt. That should be your first stop for forms, fees, official info.
aima.gov.ptt5a.
For direct inquiries, you can try their immigration hotline. The number is +351 2777 115,000. Be prepared for potential wait times, though.
Okay, good heads up. Email?
There's a general email often listed, email protected, though response times can vary. And of course, for in-person visits or appointments, remember that regional AIME offices exist.
Like the Lisbon one.
Yeah, for example, the main Lisbon office address is Avenida Antonio Augusto de Aguirre, number 20. That's 1050016 Lisboa. You can find other regional office addresses on the AIME website.
Perfect. Okay, so as we finish up, let's leave you with a final thought to ponder. Beyond the paperwork, the fees, the bureaucracy, what does maintaining your legal residency in Portugal truly open up for you?
Is it just the continued enjoyment of that, serene Mediterranean lifestyle we talked about?
Or maybe it's the blossoming of new opportunities for work, for entrepreneurship, perhaps for a peaceful retirement.
Or is it simply that profound peace of mind that comes with stability and belonging in a country you've actively chosen to call home?
Something to think about.
Definitely. And remember, by meticulously following the insights from this deep dive, drawing on resources like the Access Portugal Guide, and crucially, committing to that early start.
That 90-day window.
That 90-day window.
Yeah.
You can ensure a much smoother transition to your renewed residency permit and just continue to embrace all the richness and an opportunity that Portugal so generously offers